Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're working on this Cub Cadet 10.5 horse 30-inch snowblower. For a customer, it says it doesn't like to start with the pull cord, but it starts okay with the electric start, so I'm thinking there might be a little bit of something on the carburetor happening there. If the electric start cranks it over a lot faster than you can with a pull cord, so it's likely just some little bit of dirt and stuff in the carburetor giving us some grief. But we're going to give it a whole fall check over. We're going to check the oil, make sure all the belts are good, tires are aired up, everything's lubricated, and basically just make sure it's going to be good for the season. We'll get you in a stand, we'll start going over things. I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'll pull the carb off and get that soaking. But yeah, likely the issue. We'll get you in the stand, get some tools out, get the hoist up, and carry on. Alright, well, let's start with getting this carburetor off. She was missing a bolt over there. I'm going to see if I got one for him. Put it back in there. I'm sure it rattles like crazy when he's using it. So these two Phillips screws here actually thread into a bracket on the front of the carburetor, which is loose. It's probably loose because it's shaking, because that screw is missing on the front. We'll get these two off first, and we'll end up tightening those up. It's a quarter inch little bolts on the inside to tighten that up. Before I go too far here, there's a couple of holes. The lower one is your idle mixture, so you can do it with the cover on. You can adjust your idle mixture here. The top one here is your idle speed adjustment. This cover has been common for many, many years. I had a 40-year-old Craftsman, same cover, same holes, for the same reasons. Pull our kill key out. The throttle knob's already missing, and there's one more knob here. It's the choke knob. Just be gentle with those. They just pull straight off, but they are plastic, so you have to be careful. You don't want to twist them too much. You get a pair of needle noses behind there, just gently pry, and they should pop out. That's coming. Just gentle. It just slides right out. That's how you're going to get the cover off. All we got is one more bolt up here, little 5/16. All of this stuff is all fine threads into sheet metal, so there should be a wire attached to this cover, and there is. This wire is a green one here. That's your kill wire. See if it's easy to unplug. Sometimes they're easy just to unplug from the bottom. Just follow it down. There we go. There we are. The little wire just plugs into a little bracket down the bottom. There's our loose bracket. Little quarter-inch screws here to hold it. It's an adjustable one, so it's all over the place here. What I'll end up doing is, before I get it all back together, I'll just snug these up and get the cover in there. I'll just tighten them up. I'll be able to tweak that cover in. So that choke knob just turns at the top here. Choke on and choke off. Linkages, there's several different holes for linkages in these things, so I always make sure I check. You can actually see that the linkage is sticky. Should be spring loaded. That's your governor. Should return to the same spot, but it's not. That needs a little penetrating oil. We'll clean that up. These carbs are very simple to take off. This little tube here is our primer line. Not sure how zoomed in you are, but if I zoom in too much, you get such a narrow field of view that you can't see what's going on. Primer line comes off. Then there's the fuel clamp. There's nothing in the tank, but it doesn't mean the line is empty. It does smell like old gas actually, so slide that to the back. Crack the line loose, just to give her a wiggle. Yep, so that's good. That's off. It does have a little tickler. There's a little button under this fuel bowl here that you can push. It's spring loaded and it will drain the carburetor. All up my finger. I'm getting a few drops out of it. Yeah, it smells like old gas. Last year's gas anyways, at least. Appears to be dry. A little syrupy. It's a little thick. Feels oily instead of like, feels like oil instead of gas. And then just 2 bolts here, here and here. And then the carburetor should come off. Is that number 2 or number 3 Phillips? This will do. Crack it loose. I'll have to get a bit or something for the inside there. Here we go. Works like a charm. This nut can be a chore to get back in there. I could take it off here and put it on a bench, but I'm pretty sure I don't have a gasket for up there if I mess it up. Not a huge deal, I could just make one, but I'd rather not have to. So the nut is out. Come on. Threads are tight. Threads are tight on that one. Just dirty threads. These old Tecumseh Snow King engines were very good engines for snowblowers. New ones now are LCT. That's what my Husqvarna has on it. LCT, Liquid Combustion Technologies. It's basically a China engine. It's a high-end China engine. It's a good one. That's what goes on all the machines now. Everything should be loose except for that fuel hose. Now here's where it gets tricky. You got to make sure that all your linkages go in the same holes. 2, 4, 5. There's 6 holes on this arm, 3 holes here, and only 1 on the governor arm. Just make sure that they go in the same spots. So usually what I'll do is I'll mark them before I take it apart. On the carburetor end, it's going to go in the ultrasonic cleaner. So I'll mark that bracket. That'll tell me which hole it was in if it falls off, because I don't plan on taking that off. I shouldn't have to. But on the carburetor, there's 3 holes here that the rod can be in. It's in the top right hole. It's important because if you put it back together incorrectly, it just won't run right. You're tearing your hair out trying to figure out why things aren't working. Nice machine. It's a big one. 10.5 horses, decent size. Just trying to work that fuel line off of there without wrecking it. I have 1/4-inch fuel line in stock, but this line goes up through under all the cowlings and inside the engine and out the other side. I'd rather not have to replace it. This isn't an overhaul, it's just a check over and get it ready for winter. It's tight tolerances in there. There we go. It's off. We'll just unhook our Z bend here off the carburetor. And there we go. Don't fall off. The gasket stayed in one piece and is in good condition. We'll reuse it. So there's our crusty carburetor. That's our idle mixture screw right in there. We're gonna take that out when we rebuild it, when we not rebuild it, when we clean it. There's that little tickler valve I was telling you about. Okay, so I'm gonna put a shop towel down, dirty one, because it's a dirty carb. Put a dirty one down, we'll start taking this thing apart. Get you resituated here so you can see what I'm looking at. A 1/2 wrench. I'm expecting to find a little bit of crusties in there. Oh, that's the one. I'm just going to center this bracket. Okay, this is where I got to be. It's pretty worn. I'm just going to center that bracket and then snug those up because well, hell with that. I'm going to take them out first. I'll take them out. That way, bracket and stuff's not in our way. One, two, bracket, idle screw. So I know the thing runs like this. So what we'll do is, oh, it's not even a screw. It's not adjustable. Non-adjustable. It's just a fixed jet. See? And this is where a lot of the problems lie, is this tiny little hole in the end here. Before I put it in the ultrasonic cleaner, I'll grab this wire here, shove it through and see if it's plugged, because I think it is, judging by what he's saying the symptoms are. Yep, there's resistance there. There you go. That was it. I figured as much. He was saying it's nearly impossible to start with a pull starter, but the electric start does start. So there, that'll go in the ultrasonic cleaner, and that's what I thought the problem was going to be. All right, let's get the rest of this off. Oh, tight. Not too awful. Again, we'll shove a wire through that before it goes into the cleaner. Well, the bowl's been off before. It wasn't quite clocked correctly. It needs to be a little more straight, but it's not critical. Oh, no junk. A little bit of powdery stuff in there, but nothing horrible. The gasket's seen better days, but we may be able to salvage it. Get our float pin out of there. Float and needle. Looks in good shape. Yeah, the gas isn't horrible. Well, it doesn't smell too good, but it's not like really, really bad. I've seen far worse. Plastic emulsion tube down there. Let's see if we can pop that out. This is always the hardest part, is trying to get that tube out of there without wrecking stuff. Just, oh, it's moving. Nice. Just reaching down on the carburetor throat there and pushing down on the tube. It's coming. There we go. Just enough that I can grab it. There we are. A lot of times, in the older carburetors, this was brass and there was a lot of little holes in there. And these ones here, I've only ever seen where they've got 2 holes at the bottom here. And they're nice and clear. It's clear up through the center. That's where the fuel comes out. That doesn't need to go in the cleaner. But this does. Pretty sure our issue was that pilot. Little pilot jet. It had a chunk of funky stuff in it. Okay. I'm going to get the ultrasonic cleaner going. Oh, let's put a wire through this. The side 2 are clear. Center is clear, wide open, and there's no gummy stuff in the bottom of it. But there's one more that many people don't even see. So there's a through hole here, goes right through. There's a hole down the center, and there's a tiny little hole right at the top of these threads. Let's see if we can get a nice close-up on it. Oh, there you go. The camera picks it up nice. Sometimes this hole is so small you can't even see it hardly at all. I think it's plugged up too. That was nice and clear. But yeah, that hides sometimes. If this jet was a little dirty, you'd barely see that hole. It's important that everything is clear. It's there for a reason. It needs to be there. So if it's not clear, it's not working, then you're going to have issues. So these bowl nuts are also the main jet. 163 is your jet size. You will notice that actually snowblower engines are jetted richer than, say, a rototiller engine. Rototiller engine is designed to be run in the summer. Snowblowers are designed to run in the winter. Snowblowers will have bigger jets in them to give you a richer mixture for running in the cold. Snowblowers also don't have air filters. You shouldn't run a snowblower engine in the summer. They don't actually run properly. You can get them, tuned up and stuff, but if they say this had an adjustable carb, adjustable main jet, or adjustable pilot jet, if you adjust it so it runs properly in the summer, come the winter time, it's going to be too lean because they run in the cold weather. Just scraping the edge off of this here. There we go. Okay, it's going to go in the ultrasonic cleaner. I would carry on and do other stuff while it's in the cleaner, but the cleaner is so loud that you won't be able to hear me. It's annoying as hell, so we'll not do that. I'll get the stuff in the cleaner, and I'll come back after 15 minutes when the cleaner's done its cycle. Just want to show you this real quick. This is a tea infuser, I think it's called. I don't know, got it from the dollar store. But it's real handy for putting stuff like jets, float pins, other jets, whatever small parts you want in your ultrasonic cleaner. Just throw them in one of these. Holds it for you. They got a short chain on it because it's for a teacup basically, but I put just a little rope on it so it doesn't go, missing down the depths of the ultrasonic cleaner. Well, that's how I do it. Oh no! See, I don't edit my bloopers. There. Everything's back in there. Okay, we're back and the Carb is out of its bath. Nice and clean. cover back on. Where'd that go? There it is. Remember to hook up this wire. Hook the wire first. I'd get you in here to get you a shot of it, but not all of us can fit. That's your kill. Get this stuff hooked back in. We're going to loosely fit this 8mm bolt, just loose, because we will have to be able to move things around. And we'll start these two Phillips, which usually rattle loose, but they got lock washers on them. I'm not going to lubricate these. I'm not going to do anything with them. If they rust, they rust. It's good. Natural thread locker. Now let me have a look at the other side there, see if that bolt thread is, if the bolt's broken off or just missing. It just looks missing. It's not a huge one. I may have one sitting around here in my junk bin. But I'll dig through the bin and find out if I have one off camera. We'll do that in a bit. Let's get our choke knob put back on there. Just pushes on. Our kill key, safety key, which normally never leaves the machine. It's always there. Well, that's back together. We do have to tighten this up once I get a bolt in there, and then we'll move on to oil change. And well, no, we're going to do the oil change after it's running, but we still need to do an oil change. We still need to pull the covers off the belts, have a look in there, and I want to jump into the drive system and make sure everything's working fine in there. If you look up at the handle, there's a bit of an issue here. This handle's loose. There's like, that's your augers, and I think what happened is the pivot for the auger is actually seized inside there. But we'll get into that. So I'm going to find a bolt for that. Oh geez, easy now. I'll find a bolt for the cover in there, a little area, and I'll turn the camera back on when we got another position to go to on the machine. Alright, so we got repositioned here. Taking the bolt out of the other side of the belt cover. I'm going to take this one out. I think he said he's had belts put on it, but we're still going to look. And like I said, I think that pivot is bad. Yep, sure enough. There's a spring. There's a spring that's supposed to pull this away. That's no good. That is no good. Maybe that's what that spring was. It was laying outside on the ground. Huh. I'm going to have to find a parts diagram for this. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, that piece there. It's supposed to be spring loaded this way to stop the augers. And when you pull the lever pulls this over, tensions the belt, and makes the augers go. The belts don't look too bad, the belts themselves. But we need to figure out a spring for that. Yeah, I'll have to find a parts diagram. Okay, we can wait for that. Yeah, it smells like old gas. It's empty. There's nothing in it. I want to get it running first. Once it's running, then we can get it warmed up and get the oil changed. I think that's what my next step will do. Will be, I'll leave the belt cover off, source out a spring, and but I'll take it outside and get it running first. No, you know what? Change my mind again. We'll jump into the drive system. We'll flip it forward and I'll go into the drive, into the bottom of the belly pan there, and we'll figure out what I need to do in there. Probably just some maintenance and lubrication. That's what we'll do. Instead of taking it back out, putting it back in the shop again, up in the thing, we'll just do it all on the hoist at one time. And then we'll take it out, get it running. Then we'll bring it in and I'll do the oil change. That's the plan of attack. Okay, so let's dive in here. We got it flipped on its front. There's still no gas in it, so that's fine. If there was gas in it, I would take the gas cap off, put a plastic bag there and put the gas cap back on. That'll stop it from spilling out the vent. So we got, this is a power steering model. Power steering basically locks and unlocks in here. There's a set of cog gears. We're going to get into that because I want to lubricate those. The best thing to lubricate those with is like a graphite, so it doesn't get full of water and freeze. This wheel turns nice and easy, but I think it's just on the splines, or the shaft. This one doesn't turn so nice. We're going to try and get these wheels off. Usually what happens after several years that they get rusted to the axle shaft and you can't get them off. It's a good idea when you're doing your maintenance just to go over them and make sure that they go on and off freely, because at some point if you have to replace the bushings in here, you need to get these wheels off. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for them anyways, because if that point comes, I'm sure I'm going to be the one working on it. I want to make it easier for myself later down the road. So we'll take these 4 bolts out of here. Kind of tight tolerance here for the camera and me and everything going on, but let's get this plate out of here. A little rusty in there, but nothing too crazy. Got a little corrosion on the friction disc. A little rustiness. Yeah, it's the wheel on the spline, on the shaft that's tight. This side's nice and free. We'll take them off and clean them up anyways. But what I want to show you, if you can see it, let's see if I can get you on the other side for a minute. There. Pay attention to what we're doing here. So this hex shaft is basically the transmission speed selector shaft. This friction wheel spins, and depending on where that friction wheel is on the pulley will determine your speeds. So this has got grease on it, but it's old and goopy. So what we do is I'm going to wash that off. I'll just clean it off, make it nice and spotless, get rid of the grease, and then I put white lithium grease on it, which is not so picky with temperature. So it stays relatively soft in cold temperatures, and it'll make this thing work beautifully. We got a rag. Get some penetrating oil because it works too for cleaning off grease. We'll spray a little on there. Give that a wipe. Get the old grease off of there. We'll need more than that. Both sides, like all around. You want it to be clean all the way around. Get the old grease off there, that way it won't be so hard to move it around in gear. So that's good. I'm going to just pop over the other side for a second and move the selector. That's top speed now, that's high gear. A little more penetrating off. Clean the other side. Get most of that old grease off of there. Well, I've got the rag. I'll hold it up under here and spray the linkage of the shift arm so it works a little easier. You don't want to put too much oil or grease anywhere in here because you don't want anything dripping on that friction plate. Oh. Get a little bit of oil on this dry chain. We'll let that work itself around once we get it rolling outside. Put a little bit more on the bottom here. Again, you want to avoid getting anything on that friction disc. It's got some flaky stuff on it. I'm just going to Scotch Brite that off. That would probably work itself off anyways in short order. But we'll give it a helping hand. Could use sandpaper, but it's not critical. There's no big grooves worn in this. That works okay. Move that selector shaft again. Gain access to that side. Oh, wait. Can't shake too much. If you see my other video, you guys fell on the floor one time. Use some white lithium grease. Just a tiny bit. You just want just a slight coating on that shaft. Because you don't want it to fling anywhere. You don't want it to fling off and go onto the friction wheel or the pulley. Let me tell you, if you do this to your blower, if it's a few years old, you will notice a huge difference. The thing will shift like brand new again. You'll be surprised. So now I'll move it to the other side again. Get a little more grease in behind it. Wow, that's shifting nice already. Easier than it was. Just a nice thin coat, not too much. That's beautiful. Let's check it out. You do it with one finger. You guys are mounted on or sitting on the hoist, so it's a little wiggly, but just like I can do it with one finger now. Nice, really, really nice. So that spring we were talking about on the arm underneath for the drive belt is supposed to be right here. It hooks in here and hooks here. And that's, you can actually see it. See the belt tensioning up? That's your auger belt. So the spring pulls it loose to go into neutral. And when you pull the lever down, it tensions it. I need to order a new spring for that. This one's still there. When you hit the drive, like the drive lever, it pulls this and makes the pulley contact that wheel. This is belt. It's got a belt drive to the engine, and then this pulls up and it spins the wheel. The wheel spins the rest of it. Stuffs. All right, we're done in here. What I'm going to do is reposition you guys again on a bench, and we're going to get these wheels off here. We got the other side off, the bolt anyways, and the wheel just came off relatively easy. This one may give us grief. It's just slightly wiggling. but it is coming this way. So I'm going to put some penetrating oil in there, give it a chance to work. On this side and between the spacer and the axle on the other side. Give it some time to work. And hopefully we can get that off of there. Behind this wheel is a plastic spacer to the body, and both sides are actually stuck on there. See that play there? That's in the bushing. Eventually those bushings go bad and you got to replace them. It's moving. Oh, look at that. Nice. That wasn't too bad actually. It was seized on the shaft here. The spacer. Well, that was starting to move too. There's the spacer, which we're going to clean out. And that's the bushing I'm talking about. When you got to replace this, the shaft has to come out. Well, if the tires are seized on there, it's going to be a real hard time changing that stuff. So we'll clean this off with emery cloth, nice and shiny. We'll goop the whole thing up with anti-seize, and we'll put the wheel back on. After I get into here, I want to take these off, and I want to lubricate the lock and unlock mechanism. Alright, I had to actually suspend filming there. It got raining so bad, I'm sure that you couldn't hear it on camera. I'm sure you couldn't hear me on camera, but anyway. So I got the wheel off and I got this cleaned up. Anyways, we're going to goop that up with anti-seize when we're done in here. But we're going to take this cover off. And we're going to lubricate the steering mechanism. Steering. Whoop, oh, easy. Let's get that back here. Little washer. So there's that. There's our cogs that lock and unlock. Well, that is dry. Huh. It's an open, it looks like an open bearing here. Jeez. Well, that's perfect in the salt and slush and crap. Well, better get some oil in there. I don't have a new one for it. So we'll just fill it with oil. This one's a seal bearing. That's a nice shape. So this is slightly different than mine. Mine has a, this is just one dog that drops into these grooves. Mine is a multi dogs on here and here. It's a collar that mesh together to kind of do this. And they can get sticky and they don't want to slide apart. So I use graphite for those. This here is a different animal. I'm just going to use penetrating oil on that to make sure everything's moving free. This is an MTD built machine. This is a Cub Cadet. Mine's a Husqvarna, but I believe it should be made by AYP. I'm going to lube this stuff. Pivots on here, so we'll get a little bit more in there. Let that work in, just so that it operates nice and free. This should be all we need to do in here. Put a little spacer back in. Put the deuce. You know what? That could have actually been the seal. I find it strange they would put an open bearing in there. It's sealed here. It's sealed on the inside. I have a feeling we'll be putting a bearing in there before too long. Maybe in the next year or so. Well, it seems to be working for now, so we'll let it live the way it is. We'll make sure we put oil in it. And we'll check the other side. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the seal. It was a sealed bearing. It's supposed to be in there. No sense leaving it in. Just gives a opportunity for it to fall out and get jammed in the rest of the works. We'll let that go. So the easiest way to do this is usually kind of you pull the lever to get this dog out of the way while you're installing it. So just hang on, we're going to block your view. There we go. So you pull the lever on the handle and it pulls that dog out of the way and you can slide this back on. Yes, there's 4 holes but only 3 bolts on every single one I've seen. Alright. And he sees it's in the cupboard behind you. Hang on. Whoa, don't go, geez, don't fall over now. The little brushes on the other side. And we're just going to coat that axle shaft. Nice liberal coating. It's not just the round part you have to clean, you got to clean these little flats too. The flats are what actually drives the hubs of the wheels. The wheels have matching flats in them. So that's what drives them. And they seize too. Alright, I've got a whole bunch I can do with a spacer. I don't have brushes and stuff to get in there, so we'll just spin that on. That'll make sure that there's a coating everywhere. Got our tire. Wheel assembly. Yeah, that slides right on. That is wonderful right there. Splines in. Put a little dab of anti-seize on that bolt too. It was snug getting it out. There we go. That's that. That's all we got to do. I'm going to do the same on the other side. No sense recording it because you just saw it. Alright, so we don't have that spring yet for the auger activation arm, so figured might as well get it running. So I put some non-ethanol gas in there. It's already dosed with seafoam. And we're going to go through the starting procedure. He said that it would start with the electric start. It was hard, but it would start with the electric start, but he just couldn't do it with the pull start. So we're going to try the pull start first. See if we fix the problem. I did the other side and let the steering arms now work awesome. They're super nice and free. And because we lubricated stuff in there, now it actually turns nice. Before the axle seemed to be a solid axle. But let's see if it starts. So, full choke. Go half throttle. Give it a few primes. Got fuel dripping out. That's fine on these. Let's see. Oh, I also changed the spark plug. Well, that's that. Started on the first pull. Nice. Mind you, it is not sub-zero outside. It's still pretty warm, as you can tell by the rain. Okay, well, we've done what we're going to do on this, other than the oil change. I'm going to let it run a little longer, and we'll change the oil out of it. It's just a drain tube on the back of the engine. And then I'm just waiting for the spring and put the belly paint on. I might as well stop this one right here. Just an oil change basically after that. Just going to hook the spring back into those two pieces, the two hooks that I showed you underneath the unit. Gone over the whole thing. It's ready for the season. Thanks for joining me, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you do subscribe, click the bell icon. It'll notify you when I upload new videos. Until the next one, take care.